Today on
Doomed!
January 6th, 2021. The big day came. Pro-Trump, QAnon conspiracy theorists have been talking up this date for months. Did they pull off a coup? Did they overturn, I should say, the results of the 2020 presidential election? Well, doesn't look like they've set out to do their goals, to accomplish their goals, but they did pull off some insanity down in Washington, D.C. today. And today, on this episode of Doomed with Matt Binder, I will break down all of it. That's right, folks, a very special edition of Doomed today, Wednesday, January 6th, 2020. Let me pull myself up on the feed here on YouTube. Oh, whoops, there we go. All right, well, I have this. As you can see, I have the Skype open. If anyone wants to call in a little bit, I'll be taking calls. You have to call via Skype, and it is at Doomed Live. You can just type that in, search, and it should come up. I believe the username is doomed_live_1. I hate that _1. I will be getting rid of that _1. Just setting up a new Skype feed, I guess. But for now, that's it. Doomed Live _1. Also, you could support this show by going to patreon.com/MattBinder. That's a great way to support this show monetarily if you can. Pandemic times are hard, I understand, but if you can, I would really appreciate if you could do so. But if you can't, financial times are tough. I understand. You could go to youtube.com/MattBinder and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's free. Doomedpod.com to find the audio version of the show. That's via podcast. That's free to subscribe to the show there, too. You could subscribe via the iTunes link, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow me on Twitter at Matt Binder, on Instagram at Matt Binder. Wherever you're on social media, follow me. Just search Matt Binder. I will come up. What else? I think that's it for now in terms of plugs. Let's jump right into what happened today, shall we? Well, first of all, actually, I should mention, for people who tuned into the stream last night, we are now on day 3 in a row of live streaming at youtube.com/MattBinder. First night was President Trump's Georgia rally. Second night was the election results in Georgia. And now, January 6th, the storm came to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., just as the Trump sycophants, really, the most hardcore Trump supporters, have been claiming they would do. Again, didn't accomplish their goals, like I said in the beginning. Don't know how they were going to accomplish their goals, quite frankly. But they did pull off a lot of chaos. And honestly, the most tragic thing of this all is that someone died at what happened today. Someone died for Donald Trump today. It is. I can't think of a single. I know for a fact there's not a single politician I would die for. There's not a single person outside of my family, my immediate family at that I think I would take a bullet for. I mean, it is just, it is, there's people who are probably, and I'm sure there's some pretty shitty people out there who are, gloating over the fact that a Trump supporter was shot and killed in the Capitol. It's a tragedy. Maybe not tragedy is the word, because that means that it was unavoidable. At least that's how I use that word. But it is sad, quite frankly, that someone lost their life over this. I honestly started this show trying to think how to start this episode, and I really didn't know where to start, to be honest. This is still going down. It is still happening. Because what went down earlier today completely disrupted the debate in Congress, in the Senate and on the House floor, over the accuracy of the results I think they were discussing Arizona at the time, because some Republicans were disputing the fact that Donald Trump lost the election, because today is the day where Congress certifies the election results. This is like the last big event before the inauguration on January 20th of, in this case, Joe Biden, who is the winner of the 2020 presidential election. I think the best place to start this is really, I think there's too much attention solely on the fact of what the Trump supporters, the pro-Trump mob, the pro-Trump, crowd there accomplished. And I think that's obviously a big part of the story, but it's letting what, in my opinion, is the takeaway sort of hide in the background. Now, for months since Trump lost the election in November, QAnon supporters and, your run-of-the-mill Trump conspiracy theorist, any sort of pro-Trump personality that wasn't just your average sort of, boring vanilla Republican, the full-on MAGA people, have been talking about all these upcoming dates that are really, honestly, they're mentioned in the Constitution, and they are actual dates of things that happen leading up to the inauguration of the next president of the United States. But they're really just ceremonial things. The election is determined by the voters, by people going to the voting booth on election day, or people who early voted with mail-in ballots or via absentee ballots. But because of all these ceremonial, really they're just ceremonial things. Like, for example, one of the big events that have been that's been looked forward to since November by the MAGA crowd has been all the different states' certification of the results deadlines. And those were all days where these true and blue Trump supporters really thought, because that's what they were being told by other people they follow online, by pro-Trump personalities who have some sort of authority in that world, by the president himself and the president's team, Giuliani. I know they claim that she really wasn't their lawyer, but Sidney Powell and all these other Trump personalities, that these dates mattered. So every time one of these dates came up, these Trump supporters truly thought, the average Trump supporter truly thought, this is going to be the day where the election fraud that Trump has been telling us about is uncovered, and we will be vindicated, and Trump will be reelected, and we will stop the Biden Chinese Communist Party, Antifa, socialist, Bernie Sanders, AOC squad, progressive Muslim, Black Lives Matter takeover of this country. And they've really believed all these dates would come and something would happen. And as these dates came and went and nothing happened to change the election results, the conspiracy theorists, the QAnon people, the pro-Trump personalities, the Trump campaign and the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself kept kicking the can down the road and saying, no, it's not really this date. It's this date that matters. No, I know this date we said that matters came and went, but the real date you have to look for is this date. Oh, no, that date came and nothing happened, but trust us, it's all part of the plan. We know that this is going to happen on these dates, but in the end, the real important date is this date. And it kept happening and happening and happening. But then, obviously, it's going to come to a close. You can only kick that can down the road so far before you reach your destination. And the destination end that landed on January 6th. And January 6th is basically the last of these big ceremonial events that happen before the ultimate event, the inauguration, on January 20th. And I think the reason, honestly, and this is a bit of a side note, the reason why January 20th is not really a date for them yet, it may be, we'll see, but it's not a date for them yet, is because I don't believe Trump is going to be there on January 20th. I think he knows what's going to happen, and he doesn't want to be there for the inauguration. There's going to be no passing the torch, the presidential, like we saw Trump and Obama welcome the Trumps to the White House, and Michelle hold Melania's hand, and Trump and Obama sit down next to each other and chat. It ain't going to happen on January 20th. I highly, 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 highly doubt Trump will even be in D.C. on January 20th. I know there's people who think he's going to refuse to leave the White House, but Trump also knows what bad optics it's going to be to have him, he's going to have to be if he refused to leave the White House, there would be, the authorities there to tell him to leave and make him leave. That would likely be the case. I don't know what else would happen if he just refused to leave and Biden showed up. They wouldn't not let Biden enter the White House. I'm talking about, government officials and Secret Service. But, so I think just to avoid any sort of embarrassment that doesn't make him look like the God Almighty powerful dictator that he has built himself to be to the MAGA crowd, he's just going to avoid that completely and claim I'm not going to, he's going to say something that makes him look tough to them. Like, I'm not going to be here for this bullshit. I'm going to go. How much this inauguration of Biden means to me? It's illegitimate. So I'm going to go golf that day. I'm not going to pay attention to something that's illegitimate. That'll be some sort of ruse some sort of narrative, that they give to the Trump, the MAGA crowd. Now, so back to what leads up to this. So you have all this, and the Trump supporters, and you especially saw with the QAnon crowd, who have been very patient. The QAnon people who are part of because there's many sects of QAnon right now. The QAnon people who are like the original QAnon crowd, the ones who believe that Trump is secretly taking on the deep state as he fights against a global satanic pedophile ring run by the Democratic Party, the swamp of the Republican Party, which they don't really ever really mention that much, but they're there, and Hollywood liberal elites, all sorts of rich mainstream libs got pulled into that conspiracy. That's the crowd that has been very patient for all this. They have truly believed that there was a plan set in motion and that Trump had it all taken care of, because that's what they were being told. Trust the plan, everything. That's been the whole of QAnon. Everything that happens is actually part of Trump's plan. Even when he takes an L on something, it's really, to them, in their little fantasy world that they've built up for themselves, it's been planned for. Trump knew that was going to happen. He made it so that happening would benefit him. And so they've been extremely patient. But as January 6th came, they started to get agitated because they were like, this is the last hurrah. The calendar ends here on January 6th. The QAnon calendar that you picked up at the local grocery store at the beginning of the year, it ends here. So if you looked online in the QAnon circles before this, there was some, even up to this morning actually, because at the rally that was planned, the January 6th rally, it culminated with the big Trump speech. Trump actually showed up down there at the planned rally before they stormed the Capitol. And he had a speech. If I had more time, I would have pulled clips from it. I would have pulled a lot of stuff. But unfortunately, this is still happening, and it'll happen so fast, so I'm going to have to explain it to you instead of playing clips. So Trump was down there at the rally today. And, at his Georgia rally, which was supposed to really be just for Perdue and Loeffler, so the Trump supporters who were disengaged and who were told that their vote wouldn't matter anymore because it's all rigged, because the presidential election was rigged. The purpose of that rally was to get them to go vote for Loeffler and Perdue, because Loeffler and Perdue were going, holy shit, we're going to lose because Trump is telling his supporters not to bother. And guess what? Look what happened. Ossoff and Warnock, like we talked about last night on the feed, they won. 2 Democratic senators in Georgia. So Trump hinted at that rally on Monday in Georgia how disappointed he was going to be in Mike Pence if he didn't do anything on January 6th. And that's who they were all looking towards, the QAnon people and the pro-Trump crowds and the Trump conspiracy theorists. They were all waiting for January 6th because that's when Mike Pence was going to get involved. That's part of the process. What happens on January 6th is all those results from the Electoral College, all the states' results, and how each elector voted in each state, it all goes to Congress. And in this ceremonial event, for them to certify the election. So in this ceremonial event, Mike Pence is to be there to handle the envelope with all those votes in there. And he is supposed to then give it to Congress, who would then count it, and Senate would certify, House would certify. And the belief in QAnon circles, and they had all sorts of constitutional conservative scholars that they lined up, who, so-called, I should say, basically feeding into them that, listen, what Pence could do, and this is all kosher, by the way, it's all part of the process too, he can do this, is he takes that envelope and he rips it up with all the votes in there and says, I do not view these electors as legitimate. And apparently he's then able to call, according to them, his own slate of electors, which, again, there were electors put forward, pro-Trump electors put forward by the Trump campaign, by the Trump side of things, in these various states where they were disputing the election. And Pence was apparently going to be able to do this, and then boom, bada bing, election overturned. Donald Trump is the reelected president of the United States till 2024. That was the belief. And Trump knew Pence wasn't going to do this. So on Monday at that rally in Georgia, he was already hinting, listen, it's all on Pence. Mike Pence, if he doesn't do it, I'll be very disappointed. But he can turn this around. He can fix things. He could stop the steal. And no credit to Pence for not doing this, because again, overturning the results of a democratic election, I should say, is not overturning the results. It's just not something to be applauded. He put out a statement saying, I'm not going to do that. Pretty much, he said it in a more. In a way where he didn't just say, I'm not going to do that. I'm dutifully bound for the Constitution, God-given, and by God's might in front of him, I'm not going to, bullshit like that. So Trump, at his rally today, to end the rally, he says something to the effect of, I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but at the end of the rally, he tells his supporters to go to the Capitol and let them know how you feel. He told them to go. Again, they were going to go regardless. But it was a sizable crowd, a couple thousand people down there today. I'm sure not all of them had plans to storm the Capitol. And the ones that did maybe wouldn't have been so adamant about doing it if they weren't emboldened by their hero, Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, I'm just making sure that the feed here is okay, cool. Looks like there was a problem with the feed, but it's good. So then what you have here is Pence obviously just does what he's supposed to do in this this role that's basically meaningless. And Congress starts debating the results. Because remember, there were House members, Republican House members, and Republicans in the Senate who said they were going to dispute the results on the Congress floor. It wasn't enough to overturn the election again, but people like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley wanted to get in the good graces of the MAGA crowd because they think they have an opening in 2024. If for any reason Trump doesn't run for re-election, doesn't run again, in 2024, he might bestow that honor. He might pass the torch to someone who brown noses him sufficiently enough. And, get in those good graces of the Trump sycophant crowd right now, right? And so while that's going on, the rally ends, and you basically just have this moment where Congress is not moving on doing what they need to do, and the rally is over, and you have thousands of people standing around with nothing to do but what the president just told them to do: head to the Capitol. So you have thousands of MAGA people walking over to the Capitol, and they get there, and they're met by, a real, you should see, I don't know if I even have, I favorited them on Twitter so I could try to pull this up. But everything was happening so fast, I don't know if I can find some of it now. Let me see. But they were basically met by, I don't know, a dozen cops? Like, it was really astonishing how little resistance they were met with by authorities. Okay, here we go. Here's a photo of the police that showed up. Right there. All right, so MAGA was met by these cops here. And if you're watching the YouTube stream, you'll see a pretty well organized line of officers. It looks like maybe like 75. I'm not really good at crowd, but like a lot of well armed riot police, in military gear, basically in front of the Capitol. And again, if you're watching the YouTube stream, I'm messing with you. This is actually what you're looking at right there, that well-armed, well-prepared group of cops you see is actually standing there from this past summer when there was a Black Lives Matter march. Because what really happened was a line of cops that looked like, where is it? I gotta get this. Like this. Here, I'll pull up this video. This is what they were met with. Oh, come on. I just accidentally clicked the wrong thing. All right, here we go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Look at that thin line of police. What is that? A dozen cops, maybe? None of them are wearing any sort of riot gear, prepared for the moment. It's on loop now, so let me just stop it. It's insanity that this is what met what would be a group of thousands of people marching to the Capitol. And again, compared to that photo I joked with you about that met the Black Lives Matter marchers who weren't planning on storming the Capitol. They were just planning to march through the streets of D.C. And let me show you. And that was just one part, one section, one entrance to the Capitol building. Let me show you another clip here, because this is truly astonishing. Even, again, nothing really surprises me anymore. So maybe, I'm not surprised. But it is still something to see here. Look at this. This was posted by Marcus This video was published on TikTok by a reporter, Marcus DiPola. And it shows a group of Trump supporters reaching the Capitol, where they were met by guardrails, basically telling them, okay, this is how far you can come to the Capitol building. This is how far you could get. Watch what happens here. I'm going to really zoom in as far as I could here to this video, because it's the TikTok, it's got the TikTok dimensions, so it's really wide angled. So let me really zoom in here for you. Watch this video. Watch what happens. There's about 4 cops there to meet this MAGA crowd at this Capitol building entrance.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again.
Look what happens there.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Let me actually zoom out a little bit so you properly see this.
And they just breached the Capitol again.
The police
are squabbling with protesters.
Let them go through. And then, see if you notice this one right here. It's going to replay one more time for the YouTube viewers. So police let them through the guardrails, tell them to come on through. You'll see a Trump supporter embrace one of the cops with a hug. Thank you for letting us through. Amazing. So now that I explained how we got here, let me go back to what I opened with. The real story that should be making the headlines today, along with, there's 2, obviously, the Trump supporters, obviously, yes. But along with that, and I don't see this story being told, these 2 need to go together hand in hand, is that the cops let today happen. The police let today happen. This event was planned well in advance. There was a heads up way longer than any sort of Black Lives Matter march that happened earlier this past summer. Yet somehow, police all over the country, along in Washington, D.C. too, were more prepared for those spontaneous Black Lives Matter marches than this one long-time planned event in D.C. That's not an accident. That's not bad planning. That's not mismanagement. I'm sorry. There is no way And you tell me, when you look at the videos that you saw from over the summer, after the police killing of George Floyd basically kicked off civil unrest all around the country, you tell me when you saw any cop open up their line and say, come on through, march down this street, break that store window glass, let alone break into the Capitol and storm. Some of the MAGA crowd got into the Senate chambers. Congress had to lock down. Congress people had to lock down. You know, you tell me when you've ever seen a left-wing movement or a left-wing protest be this hands-off by the cops. And also combined with the fact, when have you seen a left-wing movement attempt anything so brazen as this? And when I mean brazen, I mean, there's been left-wing protests that have done some pretty crazy, pretty over-the-top, like, wow, I can't believe they pulled that off, even with the cops doing everything possible to stop them. But they would have never been allowed, even if they tried their hard, they would have never been allowed to get to the Capitol building like these Trump supporters were able to. You have seen a line of left-wing protesters ridden with bullet holes, to be quite honest, before by authorities, before they let them get anywhere near a government building like this. I assure you. You have Black Lives Matter protesters. You have anti-fascist counter-protesters who have become disabled, who have lost their eyes, literally become partially blinded, eye removed, gone forever, because of the police response to a Black Lives Matter protest marching down a public street. Maybe a few garbage cans, being thrown into the street. Some litter being thrown. Maybe a garbage can even set on fire. Oh no. But when have you ever seen, like, literally, there is a video. Let me pull this video up. This is how some Trump supporters entered the Capitol building today. And you tell me, when you've ever seen, or when you would ever see, a left-wing protest be given the ability, even the opening, by cops to do this. Here it is. They literally have one of the Capitol Police's riot shields, and they're using it to break open one of the windows. They have 2x4s as well. And now they're entering the Capitol building via the windows they just bashed in. Like, when? Well, you will never see this. A left-wing protest, if they wanted to do this, would need to accept that there would be at least I'm being really conservative here, a half dozen bodies on the floor who tried to do that first before there was a line able to get that close. Joe on Periscope says, "We've seen it for 6 months all over the U.S., rioting and looting businesses." We haven't seen it all over the U.S. There were certain cities where there was civil unrest and there was looting and there was fires set. And I assure you, if you look at the videos, you will see a lot of people getting bashed in the head by cops trying to stop it. But there is a large gap, a really large gap, between breaking into a Target and stealing a few t-shirts and televisions, and then breaking into a government building in an attempt to threaten Congress to overturn a presidential election. You are out of your mind if you think those two things are anywhere equivalent. You can go to a store right now and you could probably successfully steal a couple of things while going through a self-checkout. Things get stolen, stores rack that up to the cost of doing business. That's not damaging in the long run to them. But you're equating that to, can you just, by the way, walk out right now, just like you go to a self-checkout store at your local Rite Aid and just, maybe swipe an extra bag of potato chips or something like that. Can you also go right now and overturn, or just, whoops, look, I slipped through overturning an election? Give me a break. Give me a break. Joe's now citing the people killed during the summer by the left-wing protesters. Was Kyle Rittenhouse one of your left-wing protesters, buddy? Anyone who died at one of these left-wing protests you're mentioning was injured or lost their life at the hands of someone like Kyle Rittenhouse, a right-wing agitator. And I'm sure you could pull one or two people getting shot from a non-right-wing agitator at a protest or two. And what happens? Those people are considered criminals by the cops. And the cops find them and arrest them, and they're sitting in jail. Like, give me a break. So, the cops let this happen. I want to make that completely clear because I see a lot of tweets about how they had planned this. They listen. This was organized in terms of getting people down there. There was no organized effort to get into the Capitol building. There was no. These people are extremely inexperienced with agitation, with street action, with civil disobedience. Right-wing protesters do not do that sort of work on the ground. They don't believe in that usually. So you have inexperienced, unorganized crowds down at the Capitol building. If there was even a semi-planned police reaction to that, like there was half the planning, the reaction to a Black Lives Matter protest or rally or march, they would have been met by a police line and realized they would not have been able to get through. Really, truly, that is a story there that's being avoided. This is, because again, you have all these videos you see. Of course, if they get through that little line of cops and they get to the Capitol building, if you have cops literally saying, okay, go ahead, go through, what's to stop them from continuing? They got to the building. The cops let them in. This would have been just another MAGA rally with a bunch of Proud Boys maybe getting out of hand at the police line, maybe shooting some mace, maybe with some clubs hitting cops with riot shields. That's all it would have. That would have been today. Another run-of-the-mill Proud Boys event that has oddly become so normalized at this point. So when you talk about what happened today, know that it's the police who made it happen. MAGA is not innocent, obviously. They did it. But no, they couldn't have done it if they weren't given every single opportunity to do it. DL says, I'm just wondering why, planned by the protesters or not, there weren't more police in the first place. They knew the rally was happening that day. What did they honestly expect? Exactly. That is the MAGA $1 million question. I mean, we know that the police overwhelmingly support Donald Trump. It is just a fact. Now, the question is, did they let it happen on purpose? And if somehow they're able to show a convincing case that this was just mismanagement, then it is incredible that that's how easy it was to threaten hundreds of elected members of Congress. I mean, there's photos of protesters hanging out in Congress people's offices. There's a photo of a guy lounging on Nancy Pelosi's at Nancy Pelosi's desk. And let's be clear here. I'm all for protest. I get it. But compare when there was a sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office by the Sunshine Kids, who basically sat down there, escorted, honestly, with other members of Congress too, actually, and just sit in protest. Here you had people break in, sitting not on the floor, but literally lounging on desks with Congress people's stuff there. And I don't know, whatever. Who cares about their jackets or whatever? I'm not talking about that. But what was on their desk? Who knew? Was there information in there that was stolen by these people? Grim wants me to say Sunshine Movement, Matt. Yeah, it is the Sunshine Movement, but I wanted to stress, honestly, how young the Sunshine Movement people at that protest were. You know, let's the question really is why I should say did that happen? Why were these people given every opportunity to storm the Capitol and do what they did? And the saddest part is this wasn't like a policy thing. Like if this was some protest, some outrage over people who are, dying in the pandemic, who are losing their homes in the pandemic, I would understand the frustration and the violence. But this was literally a coup attempt. It was an attempt to overturn the results of the election and disenfranchise tens of millions of voters. And that's just that's what's really like, there's been one of the things going on online in the past couple of days on the left has been this debate about force the vote. Jimmy Dore said that there should be a vote on the House floor for Medicare for all, and the fact that the Squad, AOC, etc., hasn't pushed for this, they're a fraud, and how true progressives would want to force a vote on the House floor for Medicare for all. And some progressives agree with him and say you're not on the left unless you are forced to vote, and if you're not, you are a neo-lib. And then there are people who are saying that the forced to vote is a bad strategy, even though they completely support Medicare for all, and force the vote is not the way to go about it, though. And I'm not looking to get into that on this stream. But imagine if Force the Vote wanted to do this. Their strategy was to storm Capitol. At least they'd be fighting for a policy goal, and the outcome there would to be just force the hand of elected officials to support a policy, not overturn the will of the people. So yeah, this is where we are. And let me get to some of these clips, actually. There's some more video I wanted to show, if I could find it. 1 second. Well, first of all, I have 2 moments of laughter to give you today, because can't be all doom and gloom on a show called Doomed, obviously. I do want to leave you guys with some comedic entertainment. This is a photo on Getty that I found from today's event, and is honestly, this is the photo of the year, if you ask me. It deserves a Pulitzer. Oh, dear God. It is truly hold on, let me pull it back in the I lost it for some reason. Hold on, I gotta pull it back in the there we go. Oh God. Hold on, could I put myself in this? If you're on the listening to the podcast, Getty caught this image of a few cops in riot gear actually confronted by a large MAGA crowd at the rally before storming the Capitol. And there's this guy in the foreground, out of focus, screaming into the air, just like the most spittle I've ever seen come out of anyone's mouth before. Can I get myself in this photo so I can... If I could pull this off, it'll be funny for the feed. Hold on 1 second. All right, I think I could pull this off. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on here. I really got to do this, because otherwise I'm going to go crazy. Here we go. I'm putting myself, what I'm doing, for those not watching the video, is I'm putting myself on the opposite side here. Here we go. Ready? Did I? Oh wait, I gotta go this way. So we're. Are my veins popping out enough, everybody? I know I can't do the spittle, because then I'm gonna ruin my new microphone. Sorry about that. I can't do the foam, everybody. People are chanting for the foam in the in the YouTube chat. I can't do it. Someone said, Doug on the Roof on YouTube says Matt makes it look like he's a co-host. It looks like he's a co-host. Right. Oh, by the way, super chat. I forgot to mention super chat. Jeez, if you'd like to give a one-off donation, youtube.com/Matt Binder, you could drop a super chat in the feed and give me a one-off if you don't want to become a patron, which is a monthly donation. Richard asks me, is that a dynamic USB mic? It is. Oh, we got a few new patrons. Let me shout out the new patrons while we're here. And then you know what? I think, because I gave a long show to the freebies yesterday, I think I'm going to jump into the patron half of the show. Live streamers could stick around as usual. If you're watching on the live stream, you don't have to be a patron. You could stick around. But I am going to now go to the second half of the show where the podcast will cut off for those listening to the replay on the podcast. But first, let me thank the patrons. I'm going to thank the new patrons from this past week. Ever since I've been doing these live stream shows. Sergio, thank you for becoming a patron. Gary M., thank you for becoming a patron. Cena, thank you for becoming a patron. User blank, no name. Thank you for becoming a patron. DBX, thank you for becoming a patron. And Civilized Top Hat 360, thank you for becoming a patron. That's patreon.com/Matt Binder. We are going to, I'll read some super chats now, and then we will go to the second half. Rexol with a super chat. Happy New Year. Thanks for the live coverage on the insanity. Everyone stay safe and support each other. Thank you, Rexol. Ian with a super chat. Remember the good old days when we were innocently making jokes about soundproofing? Oh, yeah, that was yesterday when I accidentally muted my mic just as I happened to show everyone the new soundproofing I got thanks to the patrons that I'm about to install probably this weekend. Elias with a super chat, which is basically a laughing pear sticker. Thank you, Elias. I'm Seti with a $10 super chat, $10 for the glamour shot, the one I just did with that guy foaming from the mouth. God bless. Thank you, I'm Seti. Keegan with a super chat, shout out to the TMBS family Discord. Thank you, Keegan. Remember the Guillotine with a $10 super chat, glad you're here. Thanks, Binder. You know, I you know, Sam Cedar on the majority port always brings up when we're on the show together how, people, well, him and Michael Brooks, who I love forever, both of them, but both downplayed a lot of the sort of right-wing reactionary stuff online at first that I covered, especially in the early days of Gamergate. And, I'm bringing this up just because, they have completely, and Michael and Sam especially actually, have 180 on that and completely have given me more than enough props, by the way, for calling it. But, there was a lot of resistance, and I've continued to see it with other people who, not only me, with other people who have focused so much on the far right and online reactionary movements and right-wing conspiracies over the past couple of years. And I've been honestly covering it for like a decade now. And they always downplayed it. Like it wasn't going to, these are just idiots online. And then it became, it's a bunch of old Trump supporters, some boomers. What are they going to do? And it was just, they just weren't getting it. And I feel like I'm on this show. I don't have the most viewers in the world. I only have 7,000 or so YouTube subscribers because I got onto the YouTube game late. But I tried to beat this over people's head. Like, listen, just please pay attention to this shit. And all the guests I've had on my show, from Jared Holt to Will Summer to Ben Collins to Michael Hayden to Who else? Kelly Weil. Even most recently, the last guest I had on was Emmy Bevinson, who's doing. I have to have Emmy on even more because I've just been going through a lot of their work recently. I've been working on this stuff for so long. And it was just, even from the left, it was like, why are you guys paying so much attention to what's going on the right sometimes? And it's because shit like this. Like, this was not an accident. Like I said, this was a plan that came together thanks to, in my opinion, a very big assist from the cops who are a part of all this. And, while it may be more fun to, talk philosophically about theory and things like that, and I agree they're very important, obviously, I've focused on this beat because there's not many people who cover it. There's a lot of great reporters, but I think on the right, not on the right, on the YouTube, the personality commentator fields, and in the, in the podcast realm, I feel like there's a lack there. And, there's a lot of great left-wing talkers. And, they mention what the Republicans' elected officials are doing. But if you're not paying attention to what's happening with these movements, you're not getting the whole picture. And I just don't see enough of that over the years. And that's why I do this show. So, long story short, if you've been listening to this show, you knew that today was possible. And you knew that this wasn't spontaneous, that this was a long time coming. And you also know that this isn't the end. This may have been the culmination for now, we'll see. This may be everything turned up to 11. We may see if this is 11 very soon. But you know this isn't the end. And in my opinion, these reactionary movements on the right are only emboldened and get more powerful and become more brazen when their guy is not in power. We saw it under the Obama years, the Obama administration, with the Tea Party and the rise of the far right and white supremacy under the end of the Obama administration. And this is where, you may think Trump is leaving office and now we don't have to pay attention to these guys anymore. But it is honestly going to be the period where they become at their height again. They're going to fight harder than ever before. Just because they're not in power doesn't mean they can't hurt you. They can't do things. And I just want you all to know that, I appreciate the people who supported this show and helped me continue to do it so that, you all can, and me too. I'm not, this is my beat, but, I learned things too by doing this show. By having on these guests sometimes, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them on as guests because I have them on as guests because I find them super interesting and they're doing great work. And I will continue to have them on. I'll be continuing to do more shows like I've been doing. Even under a Biden presidency with a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. We will cover those things on this show, but this show will continue to have its focus on online conspiracies and the far right. Right-wing reactionary movements, white supremacy, and neo-Nazi movements. I'm sure I didn't drop even close to 10% of the names that should be dropped who've done this work too, who've been on this show, and even more who have yet to be on this show. But yeah. So folks, patreon.com/MattBinder, youtube.com/MattBinder, doomedpod.com. Follow me on Twitter at MattBinder. Follow me everywhere you are on social media. Just search Matt Binder. Tell your friends and your favorite podcasters and streamers and YouTubers and Twitch streamers or whoever about the show. Let them know you want to have me on their show. Let them know I want to have them on my show. And in the second half for patrons and for the live streamers who want to stick around, I'm not going to boot off even the freebie live streamers. So you could stick around if you're watching live. You could stay and watch. I will be talking about I just had a mental block here. I'll be talking about the latest conspiracy now springing up on the right wing from conservatives and Republicans who don't want to believe what went down just went down. There is a conspiracy that's gaining traction, and if you haven't seen it already, I guarantee you by tomorrow morning, your mom, dad, conservative uncle, grandma, the locals in your small town Facebook groups will be sharing this conspiracy everywhere. There's a conspiracy being spread now, a completely untrue misinformation, that the people who stormed the Capitol today were not actually real Trump supporters. They were secret undercover members of Antifa. Anti-fascist infiltrators. No true Trumpsmen. We'll be getting to that, plus more questions, comments, maybe some calls in the second half of the show, which we are going into right now for people sticking around for the live stream. And for the patrons, this is the third show this week, so if you haven't caught the last couple of shows, jump back in the feed. I didn't put up the MAGA rally, the Trump rally from Monday as a podcast. It was too dependent on the Trump video. So tune into that on youtube.com/MattBinder if you missed it. The Georgia election coverage, the full 2.5 hours is up just as a podcast and as a YouTube stream, so you could catch either if you'd like. Otherwise, see you all next time on Doomed. All right, we are back. What's up, patrons? How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being a patron. Thank you for supporting this show. I truly appreciate your patronage, especially during a week where I am now, how long did I go on Monday? 2 hours, then 2.5 hours last night, 4.5 hours. And then what? I'm going to end up going what right now? Oh, I forgot to remove the... I have this up still. What am I doing here? Here we go. I'm back on the YouTube feed. Sorry about that. We will have... we're at an hour now into this. I'll probably go, 45 minutes for you... you wonderful patrons. So, and then again, I'm a one-man show here. I don't have an opportunity to take a breather and rely on a co-host or a guest right now for this whole week. So it means a lot. Now, let me first make sure that there's no more super chats I'm missing that came in after. Cat Sense with the super chat. Thanks. Mariah with a super chat saying, spent all day hoping you'd go live tonight to process this insane day. LOL. Thank you, dude. Thank you, Mariah, for being such a supporter of the show. Trey says, I edit videos. I can help out. That is something that I need help with. There is an opportunity that I'm missing out on because I just don't have the time. Because, again, this isn't my full-time job. It would be a dream for it to be, but it's not. So, I'm also very fortunate that my full-time job allows me to cover this stuff. If you haven't, you could go to Mashable.com and you can see my stories from today about what happened today. I believe they're both on the front page. So I'm fortunate there, but also that means I don't have time to even though I didn't have that full-time job, it'd probably be difficult for me to also gather all the stuff. Like I said, I probably would have needed a whole day just to prepare all the clips I wanted to show you guys. Instead, after getting the kids to bed and eating dinner, I probably legitimately had like 30 to 40 minutes to prepare for this stream. And that's with me pushing this stream back way later than I usually start a non-election results coverage night. When there's election results coming in, I obviously plan a later stream. But, And, tomorrow, I usually do a Thursday show, but tomorrow, I think I'm not going to do a show tomorrow, but that doesn't mean I'm not doing something. I'll let you guys know, but I'm doing an interview on QAnon for an outlet, and I'll let you know more about that. I've done a few, interviews over the years, not even, over the past year, actually, for different radio shows, and it's for some international outlets, but this one is a video thing, so I'll let you know more about it when I know more about it, but that I'm doing tomorrow. So that was what I'll be doing tomorrow instead of the usual Thursday show. But you got 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, of shows to catch up on if you need some Doomed with Matt Binder tomorrow night. I will also be on the Majority Port for the Fun Half Thursdays with the Thursday crew tomorrow. So check that out as well. And if you catch this late, or if I get this up late because I'm got to edit this and I don't get it up in time, go back and catch the replay of that stuff. Sorry. But, oh yeah, so what I'd really like, actually, if possible, is, and this doesn't require you to wait for me to shoot something, like if someone could basically just pull the streams and clip the most, maybe 2 to 4 minute like segments where you guys you're watching. I totally think it's, you guys know when I'm on a roll, I think, and where I'm, or when you could cut something out and put 2 clips together, and then I'll make more sense, something like that. If you can, and this is totally something to do in spare time if you want to. I don't have money yet to pay anyone to do this, so it's totally. Completely do it if you want to have the time and want to help out type of deal. 2 to 4 minute segments of the show each week. Grab that, edit it together, and if you guys can get that to me so I can upload those to YouTube as individual segments. I'll even upload them to like Facebook and Instagram as individual segments. I think that's the one thing that's lacking on this show right now. I need more standalone, pre-existing uploaded content, like the Majority Port does, like all the big leftist YouTube shows do. Humanist Report, Rational National, Kyle Kalinske, even Michael Brooks, whose main thing was with the Michael Brooks show, his main thing was the weekly show, but still they grabbed the best clips from the show and uploaded them as individual segments. If you guys could just get me those segments, that would be swell. So I don't have to edit anything. You could even do your own, whatever you'd like to do to make it look fancy. I don't care. Or do nothing to it. Just get it clipped so I'm sounding good and not stuttering all over myself. Cut those clips together and just 2 to 4, maybe even 5 minutes if it's needed. That would be great. So let's get to, and again, if you want to call, no one's really called in today or yesterday, and that's odd because usually people do call in, but hell, maybe people really just like hear me talking, and stuttering all over myself sometimes. Let's get to this. And now, it happened while I was preparing to do this show. But Congress is now back in session because they have to certify those results, the election results today, January 6th. But while speaking on the House floor, and again, I wish I had time to grab these clips, a number of them are already floating the same conspiracy that's going around online. And let me pull up some of the people who are tweeting this shit. I put it in my here we go. Let's get this up here. One second. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I had these tweets all pulled, and then I lost them, and now I got to get them back up. All right, here we go. We got... Oh, and here's a clip, too, I just came across. All right, cool. So let's play this clip from Matt Gaetz, Republican House member from Florida. Here we go. Pulling it up on the screen. I'm sorry, it's taking a minute. Now, here we go.
Some pretty compelling evidence from a facial recognition company showing that some of the people who breached the Capitol today were not Trump supporters. They were masquerading as Trump supporters and, in fact, were members of the violent terrorist group Antifa. Now, we should seek to build America up, not tear her down and destroy her. And I am sure glad that at least for one day, I didn't hear my Democrat colleagues calling to defund the police.
The clapping. Now, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to this claim that a facial recognition company, that I haven't seen. Again, he could be pulling this out of his ass. Again, he's pulling out of his ass. Apparently, it's a right wing outlet is claiming that a facial recognition firm matched two of the men inside the Senate. Who are the two men that they matched? I want to know. In this ridiculously bizarre claim here. A retired military officer. Give me a break. So here's the tweet from Louis Gohmert claiming that please people, no violence. This only hurts our cause. Those leading the charge like the guy in yellow with the communist hammer and sickle tattoo. Stopping violence applies to you too. And here's Congressman Mo Brooks House recessed until law and order can safely be assured. Rumor. Antifa fascists and backwards MAGA hats. Time will tell what truth is. Give me a break. Now, I debunked two of the claims I saw going around online. Whoops. I didn't mean to show this ad here, but I wanted to pull up my article that I wrote earlier today. So here's, if you're watching on the feed here. So basically what you have is that this conspiracy was going around about the Antifa infiltrators actually were the ones who stormed the Capitol. And the two claims that they were using as proof that this was happening was basically pointed towards two individuals who were in there. And one of the people who they are claiming was a secret Antifa super soldier and not a true Trump supporter is actually one of the most prominent QAnon supporters there is, who goes by the name QAnon Shaman. This guy has been photographed, I don't even know how many times, throughout the past, year or so, probably even more, at Trump rallies. I believe I saw an interview actually just today of him talking to people at a reporter at a Trump rally in February of last year. There's video of him at Trump rallies. There's video of him speaking at a pro-Trump Stop the Steal protest after the election results came in. This guy is constantly caught on camera shouting out pro-Trump QAnon conspiracy theories at all the events he's at. And because he's dressed like this and he's in the Capitol building, Republicans are trying to throw him under the bus as not a true Trumpian. Not a true Trumpsman, I should say. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And then there was another conspiracy going around about another guy. Oh, and the claim that they were that was being passed around about this the shaman was that he was photographed at a Black Lives Matter rally in June, which is true. He was photographed at a Black Lives Matter rally in June. However, the photo from that rally was manipulated to cut out the sign he was holding, which shows he's holding a Q sent me sign. And he was there as a counter-protester with the other pro-Trump supporters yelling at the Black Lives Matter supporters. And then there was another guy who, Lynn Wood was promoting, which I debunked. Lynn Wood was claiming that the pro-Trump conspiratist lawyer was claiming that, where is that? Here's the Woods... Lynn Wood's tweet, which honestly should not still be up, but it is. So Lynn Wood tweets out, indisputable photographic evidence that Antifa violently broke into Congress today to inflict harm and do damage, not real Donald Trump supporters. Do not be fooled. Trump supporters are peaceful. It was Antifa that created the violence in our cities over the past several months. And as proof is this photo of an individual at the Capitol and an individual whose photo is on phillyantifa.org. Now, first of all, it's unclear if the photo is even of the same two people. It's just two guys with a beard. Can't really tell if they're the same person. They look a little bit alike, but they also look like they're not exactly lookalikes. But again, these photos are from different angles. It's hard to tell. But what Lynn Wood did was I don't know how he found this, but the picture is on Google Images, and he screenshotted it on Google Images. And Google sources that photo of this guy to phillyantifa.org. But if you click the image and actually go to phillyantifa.org, what you will find is that they were actually, his photos on that site, because phillyantifa.org is outing this guy as a white supremacist. His photo is not on phillyantifa.org as part of like an Antifa membership roster page. He's on the page being outed. They're attacking the guy. They're warning the community about this guy. They're outing him to his family, friends, his coworkers as a white supremacist. And the photo they use, by the way, to show that he's actually a member of Antifa, in the photo, he's with a prominent neo-Nazi who we've talked about on this show before, Matthew Heimbach. Or Heimbach. I can't remember how to say his name. I'm sorry. I just saw this update on Twitter. 4 dead, including 1 shooting victim. 3 others died due to medical emergency. What were the medical emergencies? Jesus. I actually really want to jump into that facial recognition conspiracy right now. I really want to see what that's all about. But I don't think that's going to be something I can do while I'm on the feed with you guys. How? Man, I really want to see where this is coming from. What is it? Who is the facial recognition firm that they're claiming this is coming from? XR Vision. Let's look into XR Vision. Let's do this together. Could be fun. Maybe not. Let's see. Let's go to their LinkedIn. 3 employees. Let's see who these people are. XR, let's go to their website, xrvision.com. A landing page with nothing except it says Situal Awareness and Actionable Intelligence and an email address. Nothing else. Let's do some research about XR Vision. Let's see how long they've been around. When was this domain registered? You guys get to see how the... well, first you have to see me go through this CAPTCHA. How good am I at finding parking meters and tractor trailers? Okay, they registered the domain in 2015. Whose information looks to be private, but let's just make sure. Yeah, it's not coming up. Let's see if there's any media about them whatsoever. The top result is the Washington Times article for them. Who's behind this group? That's what I want to know. Let's go to Crunchbase, see what's there. Guy Ron is the CEO and co-founder. Let's see if I can find out more about him. No, I really can't see much right now. I'll probably have to spend some more time doing this. Hmm. Endorphin says, Matt, you following this Lin Wood angle tonight? Which Lin Wood angle? I just talked about his Antifa conspiracy theory. Is there another one? Let's see if we can find Guy Ron's Twitter. No, that's not him. Let me look up XR Vision on Twitter and see if anyone's talked about them before today. Let's can't go to latest and go back. Let's see. Oh, people. Let's go to people. Is anyone who works at XR Vision on Twitter? No, that's not it. Shit, I really want to, really want to dive into this. I hope this isn't boring for you guys. Who is that other guy? The only other person who was listed as an employee at XR Vision. The Salami Mommy's laughing at the guy's name being Guy Ron. Right. Endorphin says Lynn is on Parler talking about Trump being in Texas at a military operation. There's only one president and it's Trump. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The other guy is Yakov Applebaum. CTO at XR Vision. Let's find out more about this guy. Okay, here we go. Now we got something. This is what I wanted. Just exited out by accident because I'm an idiot. I knew this was going to be the case. Here we go. Yakov Applebaum looks to be a prominent right-wing conspiracy theorist. And he's a CTO for this company. This is exactly what I thought I would find. Because here's the deal. Tracy Beans of Uncovered DC, if you're familiar with Tracy Beans, she is a prominent pro-Trump, she runs a prominent pro-Trump news outlet. Look on that site. He uses XR Vision's logo to give his conspiracy about a Georgia ballot underground railroad. Obviously, look, literally, he thinks that ballots were shifted around in Georgia to give Biden the win underground. And he uses his company's name to give it a sense of legitimacy. XR Vision does not exist. It's not real. And if it is a real company, it's being used basically to back this right-wing conspiracy theorist who's the CTO of the company. Let's see what else is out there. Yakov Applebaum. Oh, he's a COVID conspiracy theorist. No shocker there. This is the guy. Guy Ron might not even exist for all I know. This is the guy here. Ron Guy. This is the guy. Here we go. Factcheck.org hit this guy up last October. No, 2 Octobers ago. An online story says House Speaker, this is from October 2019. An online story says House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Democratic Rep Adam Schiff are both connected to a Ukrainian arms dealer through a 2013 fundraiser, but the supposed Ukrainian arms dealer owns a California company that primarily develops airships, including for the U.S. government. He has donated to both parties, not just the Democrats. And the claim, comes from the Gateway Pundit story that went viral is largely based on a blog post from Yakov Applebaum, who runs a company called XR Vision. This is what's driving it. This fucking conspiracy theorist. Not surprising, but this fucking conspiracy theorist. I mean, that's where it all comes from. Look at this. Shit on Y Combinator. The Biden rat years, claiming Biden has ties to China. Look, using his XR Vision logo on these photos of Hunter Biden to give it some sense of legitimacy, like there's an actual tech organization behind it. Now everyone in the chat is focused. I'm doing this shit, and everyone in the chat is focused on mocking me for saying correct. I claim. Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous. Give me a fucking break. Oh, my email. Where is... Oh, this is, What am I looking for here? Here we go. This is outrageous. The Washington Times. People are telling me that I have to get this out there because I don't know. Has anyone talked about this on Twitter? You see anyone? I can't be the first person to fucking... I can't be the first person to fucking figure this shit out. Oh, thank you, Doug on the Roof, for tweeting that. I'm going to retweet that. Let's go through his blog. Applebaum.wordpress.com. We got Trump Oppo research courtesy of the CCP, Chinese Communist Party. Okay, XR Vision, all XR Vision. It's all what is this? What is the claim here? I can't even understand some of this shit. It's just a blog totally focused on Hunter Biden from the post I'm seeing so far. What is this facial recognition shit? He's basically just putting fucking squares around people's faces and slapping his XR Vision logo on it and making people think that he's got some sort of facial recognition technology. That's what it looks like to me. Look, what do you need? Why do you need the facial recognition square around the fucking crack pipe? This is bullshit. This is not a, what is this? What is this? What is this one? There are a number of online sources that published the following image claiming that this was a photo of Justice John Roberts with Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine, whatever her fuck her name is. I never know how to pronounce that first name. It is not. The man in this image is a French modeling agent named Jean-Louis Brunel. Okay. You don't need the facial recognition squares for that. It came out that Jean-Louis Brunel, that French modeling agent, had ties to her. I remember that, unless I'm misremembering it. Yeah. He had ties to Jeffrey Epstein. This is known. Like, that doesn't even look like Justice John Roberts. Are you kidding me? You need a facial recognition technology to tell me that's not John Roberts? This guy is putting squares around people's faces and saying he's got facial recognition technology. Listen, people in the chat, don't expect me to pronounce these French names correctly, okay? I should just call him Pierre, okay? That makes things easier for me. You need these little squares around his face to tell me who that is? All right, maybe let's give this guy benefit of the doubt. When was this published? Let's see. Maybe a couple of years ago. Maybe it was. When was this published? I think that was for the previous post. In December. It's been known. Give me a break. Give me a break. This is something else, man. The Washington Times is using this guy. Are you kidding me? Let's keep going through this blog. I love the XR Vision logo everywhere. I love it. I gotta do one specific search actually. I gotta do Yakov Applebaum QAnon. Let's see. This is on an anti-QAnon Facebook page. Let's see. Yakov Applebaum. What is this? Oh, Adobe's. Do you guys see this? No, you don't. Okay, good. I just got a pop up to uninstall Dying Flash. Where? Let's see. This guy is all right. I can't do any more on this right now. I think I'm getting too deep into the weeds now to do this on the live stream. Oh wait, Zoe found Guy Ron. I think it's all starting to make sense here, I think. Guy Ron? Is Guy Ping? Oh, no, that's something. No, okay, I found them. Guy Ron. Let's look more into this guy. So he was speaking at an event with a guy named Guy Ping. Excuse me. I didn't realize there was more to that page. Let's see. There's nothing much about Guy Ron other than his connection to speaking at that Huawei event. He used to work for Microsoft, it says. And his experience setting up security systems in Israel. What's this? From a QAnon dump page. If it loads. If it loads. Guy Ron LinkedIn, someone said. No, that's not him, even though it's a Gyron located in Israel. Gyron XR Vision. Right? That was the name of it? All right, here we go. He's located in Singapore. Okay. What is this shit that he I'm not logged into LinkedIn right now, unfortunately. Let's see this actually. Guy Ron. Let's go QAnon here. Let's see if anything comes up with any QAnon stuff. No, that's not. No. Let's look up Yakov again, right? Or however you pronounce his name. Let me actually type that in first. Yakov Applebaum. And let's go Ron Guy now. Ron Guy. Is that even his name? I can't remember anymore. I'm Guy Ron. Whoops. The wrong guy, Ron Guy. It's Guy Ron, right? All right. It's getting late. It's almost 1 a.m. here on the East Coast. I was not expecting to do this, but no, I can't find anything else about him. I'm gonna do more research right now, actually, off the feed. So all right, guys. Is there any more super chats? I'll get to the super chats, and then that'll be the show for today. Hope that was fun for you guys. I don't know if it'll be fun for the podcast listeners. I'm sorry. It's not loading. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. Let's go to the super chat. Did I read Lori's tweet? Lori's chat? I don't remember, but Lori says, appreciate it, Matt, especially after a day like today. Monster Hunter says, first time viewer, love your work on MR, bringing old MR content like the Paul Elam, and binging on old MR content like the Paul Elam debate. Crazy day today, but thanks for making sense of it. Man, I was so young in that debate. I saw it recently too. I came across it recently, and I couldn't watch it. I think I did a good job. You could tell I'm nervous because it's one of my first debates that I've ever done on YouTube. But I think I handled him well. I did much better than him, and he was like 30, 40 years older than me. And yeah, that was a fun one. Jacob with a $10 super chat. Did you hear the weird voicemail Giuliani accidentally left to the wrong number? He's trying to delay the vote until late tomorrow. Why do you think that is? I have no idea. I didn't hear that, but I have no idea. Bobo Jangle says, so he's a Soros super sleeper agent, huh? Rambo Ron says, keep up the good work. Maya with a super chat, just plain super chat from Maya. Greg with a super chat says, thanks, Matt. This is a great peek behind the curtain. Really appreciate it. B Buccaneer with the $15 super chat, just to give me a super chat. Thank you, B Buccaneer. Mila with the super chat. He's really Jacob Applebaum. It's a pseudonym. So let's look up really quick while I'm on with you guys. Let's look up Jacob Applebaum. All right, so let's see. Who is this guy? Jacob Applebaum. Is this the same Jacob Applebaum? I'm not gonna. I can't get into this right here because I don't know if it's the same Jacob Applebaum, and it's too much to really dive into right now without looking further into it. Looks like he had some sort of ties to WikiLeaks if it's the same guy, but I don't know if it's the same guy, so I'm gonna keep this out of it. And Jacob Applebaum seems like a very sort of common name. I mean, it's not quite John Smith, but it's not something as unique either. Oh, no, it's not the same guy. I don't know where this is coming from. It is definitely not the same guy. I just pulled up a picture of Yaakov Applebaum and Jacob Applebaum that I found. It's definitely not the same guy. That's a totally different person. See, that's why I wanted to do that. That's why the name's too common, and it doesn't look like him. In my opinion. Yeah, that's not the same person. No way. All right. I'll have to jump further into that and find more about it. All right, folks. Thank you so much for your support and your viewership over these past 3 days. I'm gonna do more feeds. I don't know if I'm gonna. I already, I don't know if I'm gonna do one. Another like 3-4 shows in a row every week, but you'll be getting more from me, even if it's not all podcast. Let's jump. Let's call it a night now. We're at almost 1 a.m. here. Yeah, don't worry. I wanna be clear to everyone. Jacob Applebaum is in no way the same guy as Jacob Applebaum. I want to be absolutely clear because there's some chatter in the YouTube chat about it. My dad says in the YouTube chat, you should get that XR vision for their facial recognition. Right. I'll pull up a photo of Jacob and Yakov, whatever his name is, and I'll just put the little green squares around their face. Boom. Do it in paint, facial recognition. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Again, you know where to find me. YouTube, Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, doompod.com for the podcast. Other than that, patrons, thank you again so much, more so than anyone. And YouTube Super Chats, you're up there too for all your support as well. Monetary support as well. Everyone else, everyone, not just everyone else. Oh, wait, one more. I'll do one more right here. It's a super chat. Little Video Man asks, in terms of ICP, are you a Shaggy 2 Dope fan or a Violent J fan? I'm more of a Violent J guy. All right. See you all next time on Doomed.